Welcome to Thriving Relationships with Jessica Hartley. We are here live at the KHTS studio in beautiful, rainy downtown Santa Clarita. We are here every Wednesday at 2 p.m. on AM 1220 and 98.1 FM. And today I have my co-host, Samantha Davis, who is a women's wellness expert, and she is going to help me and help us, everybody that's listening and everyone around, revolutionize forgiveness. Because the thing is that we have been doing forgiveness wrong. There's so many things about it that are flawed and create experiences in a relationship that just don't really work together with the way that we've been doing it. So we have to really address this and start to recondition and change it. So, Samantha.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's nice to be back.
Yes, it is so nice to have you back. Samantha, before we get into forgiveness, I want you to just real quick tell me about what you're up to with your book and the tour that's going to be coming up.
Oh, okay. That's can you feel like the exciting energy that just bursted out of my heart when you said that? That was so exciting. As some people close in my life may know, some of my dear friends, I wrote a book about 3 years ago, and I've been adding to it, adding ideas and testimonials and experiences throughout my work in the last few years. And it's just been sitting there. And I got a phone call a couple months ago for a book deal. And I have a few potential publishers, and we're in the middle of the early editing stages right now. So we're hoping to have that out by summer. So the goal is to do a tour in the fall and have some workshops surrounding it that can really help women attend and take that book and really dive deep and do the work in person. Because you can show up to amazing events or read a great book all day long, but it's not the content that changes your life. It's the action of the content that changes your life.
Oh my gosh, you are speaking my language.
So that's the plan as of right now, and we're really looking forward to it.
Oh, yay. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. I'm excited.
So amazing. Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, just really taking a minute to acknowledge you in that work, because when women are going through becoming a mother, it is so easy to lose themselves. And myself included, and not just themselves because they get wrapped up in the children, but it's so easy to lose the relationship because all of a sudden this child is so dependent and priority number one. And especially as a first-time mom, you don't know what you're doing, and you think you do, but it's hard. It's hard because all your hormones are going all over the place. And if you have a child that had colic or has colic, like I did, oh my goodness, it's hard. It's very hard. And then, you don't get any sleep, etc. So yes, you are doing some amazing work. And it's so important to not only bring women back into who they are, but also in being able to honor the things that are important to them all at the same time. Because the truth is that women are experts at multitasking.
This is true.
We're really good at wearing multiple hats. That's something that's in our forte. But if, once we start wearing these hats that are so meaningful, it's like they can get a little bit overbearing, and it's important to learn how to be able to manage and balance each one of those hats, like mother, wife, woman in the work world, myself, honoring myself and all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And really it's an attribute to you as well, though, because what you just said about, the experience that we go through and how you lose your sense of self and the relationship through the work that I've done for throughout the years. I'm a big learner. I'm always picking up new things and feeding my mind full of great info. And I've taken your workshops before and done your program. And something that I do with all of my couples now as a doula is their homework is to have a date night once a week, no matter what. So much of the postpartum exercises that they have were developed from the work that I've learned from you.
Yes,
it's so important for them to cultivate that relationship, because you really don't know. You're becoming a whole new person, right? Mom and dad are no longer husband and wife or husband and husband or partner and spouse or whatever. They're now mom and dad. Right? So who are they outside of just mom and dad. They've got to say goodbye to that old identity and embrace the new one, but still be able to find themselves outside of just being a parent, right? And then nurturing that relationship first. Because as women, something else you taught me deeply was that we always we're so self-sacrificing, and it's all about putting the children first and then the spouse, right? And then if there's anything left for us, we'll get that.
Yeah.
And it's so backwards, you know? So it's really helped develop a lot of my work in such a beautiful way too. So,
and you know, just to mention that, just because it's up, you know, it's like when we have children, that is that exactly that order. Things start to go in that order, and it is backwards. Self first, and then spouse second, and then child. And I know that a lot of women might have some gripe with that because the children are so important. But here's the thing, is that if you don't have a solid relationship with your spouse, then you're going to have more energy drained from you rather than the support you need, the cohesiveness, the parenting on the same page, you know, all of that is so fundamental to what you can offer in your time to your child, to give your child the best. You know, it's like it goes in that order and in that ladder and in that direction. And also, you know, you have an important relationship as a husband and wife. And if that gets neglected, then, you know, eventually things will get more and more separated and disconnected, and then you won't have a husband anymore.
Exactly. And children are masters of divide and conquer, you know, go get what they want from mom because they know they won't get it from dad, pit them against each other. It's just, it doesn't cultivate and nurture that whole family that ideally is what we all want, right?
Yeah. And also to speak for the men, I think too, is like they're very important, and they also need nurturing. That's the thing. You know, I know that my husband works so hard and he comes home tired, you know, and so just like my children need nurturing, he also needs my care, love, and attention. And it's not as specific or needy as or dependent as the children's needing, but what he needs from me is just, you know, that reassurance, that love, that support, that, hey babe, I got it, you know, like, let me get this for you, go ahead and sleep in, or whatever it is, depending on, you know, everything. But basically to have that loving acceptance and that nurturing, here's a meal, here's some love, here's some love-in, you know, all of those things that are really important. And I find it to be an honor to be able to give that to him, and also to give to my children in the way that they need me as well. And so, yeah, it does take a lot of balance and wearing a lot of hats and learning to be good at it.
Absolutely. And it really comes down to, which I feel is a huge movement right now, is women rediscovering their sense of self and their power and who they are as a woman. And at the end of the day, the model we've been taught is so flawed and so broken. And if you can go back to knowing who you are and nurturing who you are and being so, like, just this incredible, powerful version of yourself, you are going to be the best spouse you can be, the best mother you can be. You're going to show up in this world for everyone in such a beautiful way. And that's what we really want, right?
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, you're hitting on some of the things that are important for me that I found in teaching women. You know, a lot of my clients are women. Of course, I work with men too, but most of my clients are women, because women are the ones that are more connected to the emotional world, and relationship lives in the emotional world. And, you know, so it's like we have been doing this thing where we've been sort of historically been pushed down or not given a voice, you know, or not given the same equalities in some ways. And so it's like now we're doing this other thing where we're almost like going to the other extreme and saying, hey, I demand this, or I demand that, or, you know, I need you to respect me, or whatever it is. And this happens with every single thing in whatever it is that we're evolving into. This is a natural occurrence where we go from, it's like a pendulum swing, where we go from one extreme and then we swing all the way to the other. And the truth is that neither of those serve us. It doesn't serve us to be over here, seemingly in what we feel at this time is our power, but really it's just exerting dominance in actually a masculine way, which is not where our power is. Our power is more of a soft power. It's more of like the power of the heart, the power of empathy, the power of understanding, the power of seeing the bigger picture, being able to touch into the way that we can inspire change through feeling. And it's an incredible power. And I find it to be much more powerful than any other kind of masculine power out there by doing and exerting. It's a very soft and understanding power, which is more influential because there's that power of empathy there. But anyway, so I'm going to be doing a women's workshop.
Yes.
Which is at the end of this month, which is teaching all about the sacred feminine and exactly how to step into that and how to not be on either extreme of not having a voice or, begging, pleading, needing, or being desperate, or on this other extreme where we're overbearing, manipulating, controlling, expecting, and all of those things, and how to come into the real power that we have to offer. And so I'm really excited about that.
Okay, can I tell you why I think that's so incredible, though?
Yes.
So right now, feminism is a big thing, right? Yeah. And there's many different types of feminism, and some of it tends to give the rest of it a little bit of let's say a bad name, because there's extremists in everything that we do, right?
Sure.
I think that message particularly right now is so important because you have this group of women that they believe so passionately in this equality and this love and being themselves and being treated fairly, and they believe in this mission, right? But what happens is it's almost like this, well, forget masculine energy and forget men and forget and like they're to the point where they're bashing that side when the reality is we need that too.
Absolutely.
Right? We need that too. We need the feminine and the masculine.
Yes.
Right?
It's the yin and the yang.
Yes, and it's nurturing that together and finding that balance and that sweet spot, right? And I think that's really, that type of message is exactly what we need today.
Right. This is about like stepping fully into that sweet spot and using it for all the deliciousness that you can create with it, and experience and the joy and when you can step into this place of the sacred feminine, you can be inspiring. You don't have to need or beg or demand or expect. You can inspire change. You can uplift into change. You can, and not only for your partner or your children, but for you too, for myself as a woman to no longer have insecurities or feel a lack of worth or feel a lack of good enough, but really own my confidence and know how to use it. To really step into greater depth of authenticity and playfulness, joy, and all of that, which is so captivating, especially to men, and so it's like it all works full circle. And so it's a beautiful thing. Anyway, I'm excited about it. But let's go into forgiveness. But okay, cool. We'll have to do that right after the break because we've been just chatting so long that we'll have to get right into it after the break. So this is Thriving Relationships. You're listening to Jessica Hartley and Samantha Davis.
Why do people from all over Santa Clarita come to our spa in Canyon Country? Simple. They want the highest quality services at prices that everyone can afford. This is Rosemary from Beyond Harmony Med Spa. Read our reviews and know why we won the Ultimate Beauty Awards 2 years in a row by the readers of Elite Magazine. Come and see how close we really are and experience the level of excellence that our clients have loved for the past 13 years. Go to beyondharmony.com or call 298-8008 today for a free consultation.
It's no secret that heavy-duty cleaning chemicals can be toxic for babies, pets, and even adults. Eco Green Clean SEV can put your worries at ease. Eco Green Clean SEV only uses organic, environmentally friendly products, reducing the risk of health issues for any age. Eco Green Cleaners use essential oils that lend to aromatherapeutic benefits. Eco Cleaners are reliable, thorough, and all cleanings are guaranteed. You even get an organic chocolate on your pillow. Local owned and operated by a single mom who started this organic business 5 years ago.
For more information or to book a cleaning, call 993-9136.
This is a Rita's Daybreak. There's a huge crowd at Rita's. With so many amazing flavors, every day's a treat. Let's see what folks are celebrating.
I lost my first tooth.
No more training wheels.
My dog photo got 37 likes.
3 kids, 3 activities, 0 meltdowns. There you have it. Layer it, blend it, or drink it with Italian ice and creamy custard. So many reasons to celebrate at Rita's. This has been a Rita's Daybreak.
Hey guys, this is Cardinellis, host of the new show Problem Solver Politics, an independent political talk show that keeps you up to date and in the know on the latest political happenings both nationally and here in the Santa Clarita Valley. Now, this isn't your usual partisan political talk show. At Problem Solver Politics, we don't rant, we don't spew talking points. We have experts from all avenues talk about specific problems and how to solve them. And if your party is in the wrong, we will tell it to your face on air every Sunday at 7 p.m.
Pure Birth's Pregnancy and Wellness is Santa Clarita's newest birth center, offering holistic prenatal care, water births, labor and delivery, and postpartum care. Owned and operated by California Medical Board licensed midwife Tiffany Gallo, who has been serving expected families in the SCV for over a decade. Pure Births is also a Medi-Cal birth center. If you want to experience a natural birth with the freedom to birth your way in a safe and professional environment, contact Pure Births on Tournament Road near McBean, purebirths.com.
The truth is, my marriage license didn't come with any training for success, and the constant conflict just pushed us further away. But I'm here as proof. If you've lost intimacy, you can rebuild it. If there's too much pain, you can heal it. You don't have to break up your family when it gets hard. Learn the 6 essential elements to create a successful relationship. The legendary Love Program has been healing relationships from the brink of divorce all over Santa Clarita. Learn more at jessicahartley.com/program.
Your hometown station.
As soon as I leave my house in Saugus, I always turn on KHTS for the latest traffic updates.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Welcome back to Thriving Relationships with Jessica Hartley. Okay, so we're going to get right into revolutionizing forgiveness. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about first, why do we need our partners to say, I'm sorry? What is it that we have this incessant need? Like when they do something that offends us, why is it so important to us? Go.
I think it's a need to feel understood. Mm-hmm. If somebody apologizes, you feel like, oh, okay, they get it. They get me. They understand my pain, or that they've wronged me, or anything.
If we feel understood, then what?
Well, the reality is when you do feel understood, then you can start to forgive and you can start to heal. But I feel like there's a huge block that we put up until we can meet that need.
Yeah, but why do we need to feel understood?
I think it's a basic human need. I do.
Well, I think that it's a conditioned human need.
Okay, I'm
going to put it that way, because to feel understood is essentially saying that, you know, I need my partner to know that they wronged me, know that they hurt me, and essentially not do it again, or essentially sometimes what I find that when we are needing our partner to say that they're sorry, mm-hmm. that it's because like we'll almost buy into this game where we're holding my forgiveness from them until they prove, mm-hmm. right? Keyword prove, that they won't repeat the offense or be so unthoughtful again, you know,
or that they care about you.
Yeah, or
right.
that they care. And it's like when we do that, we're playing this sort of manipulative game, holding something over their head, which is sort of withdrawing our acceptance of them, withdrawing our approval of them, or withdrawing our attention. Depending on how we move into that, you know, sometimes when they wrong us, we kind of give them the cold shoulder, you know, that kind of thing. And it's like we do all of these things in an attempt to sort of manipulate their behavior so that they will no longer repeat the offense, right? Essentially? Yeah.
Subconsciously even. We don't even realize that that's why we're doing it or what we're doing. I think that we tell children in school, right? You did something wrong. Like, go say sorry right now. How often do we hear that? Go apologize. Say you're sorry.
Right.
And it's not even an authentic thing at that point where the child understands the wrongdoing and wants to make it right. It's something they're told they have to do.
Right. So that's a perfect example. When we say that to a child, what's going on internally inside the child? You know, the child is thinking to themselves, oh my gosh, I'm not good enough. I failed. And now I have to go do this A, B, C thing in order to be redeemed, you know,
or accepted.
Yeah. And then so what happens? What is the outcome of that is that the child, two things. First, the child never connects to a genuine understanding of, oh, hey, let me take some self-reflection here. I did this and that wasn't actually what I intended to do. And how can I learn and do better next time genuinely because I want to? Okay, so that never happens. And then the second thing that takes place is that the child learns to use that apology as sort of their out, you know? So instead of it, I'm just going to do this again because I can just say I'm sorry, you know? And then what good does that do? Nothing, you know? It doesn't get to the root of what we are wanting to do. The intention has a huge disconnect from the outcome, you know?
Yeah, it just makes me so sad. It really does. And I think of my sweet little Russell when I think about that. And I'm like, oh, I really hope that I've been able to break enough molds and enough of my own conditioning,
Our own conditioning,
to be able to help him come up in the right environment and understand that. I see this all the time. We see it in our line of work, but we see it with families or at the park. And I see it with children. There's so many examples of that. I mean, another good one would be that they have to hug a certain person or they have to, telling them that this is what's expected of them is really saying, this is what society expects of me. And if you don't do this as a child, I feel like less of a person or a parent. Right?
Yeah.
And it devastates me.
For example, like when, you know, your kids are at preschool and then your child hits another child and it's like, oh, you better go say you're sorry. Go do it now because otherwise it looks bad on me, you know, as a parent or whatever. You know, and it's like, it's really, the child needs to really learn that process. Yeah. And so to take it away from the experience of the child and using that example and put it back onto our loved ones or our spouse and the people that we're in relationship with, it's the same thing. They're fallible. Here's the thing that we need to all recognize is that we are going to learn through mistakes. And second is that we are always going to be learning. We are never going to stop learning, which means we are never going to stop making mistakes. So it's hand in hand, and we have to accept that in order to actually improve ourselves and to do better in any one thing, that we have to fumble and fall a little bit. You know, think about a child learning to walk. You know, how many times does that child fall down? And does someone say, oh, you bad child, you fell, you know?
Yeah.
No, it's like, no, you accept that the child's learning.
Yeah.
And they have good intentions, and that eventually they will walk.
Absolutely, and they will figure it out, and it's going to take some nurturing and some patience and some love and maybe a little guidance.
And there's no need to say, child, next time, do you promise to walk? You know, and it's like, well, I have the intention to walk, but I might fall again because I'm a baby. You know?
Okay, so while you're saying that, something came up for me.
Go.
I think that the idea of forgiveness and this conditioning, right, that we're talking about also feeds into trust.
Oh, for sure.
You know, and I think that comes down to, okay, well, if you say you're not going to do that, I'm supposed to trust that means that you're not going to. Right? Yeah. Or that maybe I can trust. And I personally, and I'd love if your opinion on this, because I don't know that we've actually talked about this in depth. I feel like trust is something that's given not necessarily something that's earned. And you can choose whether to give that trust or not to that person who so did X, Y, and Z wrong to you. But at the end of the day, there's no guarantee that person's not going to do that again. There's no guarantee.
Right.
You have no idea.
So I love that you're bringing this up because this is the topic of my show on the radio next week.
Oh, perfect. Segue.
Oh, wait, no, it's not next week. It's in 2 weeks. And I actually have Reverend Ron Blair from Agape who's going to be talking about trust with me on the air.
Can I come hang out? Can I just stand outside and just admire?
Yes, you're going to love him. He's amazing. He's got these amazing dreadlocks.
Yes.
And yeah, he's so cool.
Oh my goodness, amazing.
So we're going to dive deep into trust. And but I'll just say real quick in response to that it's my understanding that we've got trust all wrong too. That's why I want to talk about it as well.
Okay, because, I'm tuning in 2 weeks, girl.
Yeah. And you're close, and I would take it even further from that as well.
Yeah.
But okay, so let's get back to forgiveness. So the other thing that happens when we do that, when we sort of hold this forgiveness over our child or our spouse or whoever's head for their wrongdoing, for their mistake, is we go right into conditional love. And that sort of withdrawal of attention. So it's like when, for example, if a child does something wrong and we put them in a timeout, right? We're saying, go over there, I don't want to be next to you. And it's like, whoa, the child's like, oh my gosh, you're manipulating me. If they could think rationally about it, you're manipulating me through my need for attention and approval right now. And that's essentially what we're doing when we hold this thing over our spouse's head as well,
Yeah. It's the same exact thing. This all goes back to, as Jen Sincero calls it, our little prince, or depending, it all goes back to that belief that's ingrained in our mind as a child, and now we carry that forth into our relationships as adults.
Yeah, exactly. So you're hitting on a point, is that the way that we've been conditioned around forgiveness is the way that we will play it out in our adult lives. And so that's why I am here to say we got to change this, people.
Girl, you're bringing me back to some work I've had to do.
Yes. Okay. So, and then the other, let's turn it around now. And now I'm the one that's in the wrong. I did something wrong. And there is this conditioned norm also where I am desperately seeking for you to redeem me. Oh, please, please, please. Oh, no, please. Can you just see that I'm good, or I had innocence, or can you just forgive me, please? And it's like we have this desperation, right? This and we're not happy unless we can be understood, or we can feel like we are seen for the innocence and the good intentions that we had.
Yeah.
Right? And that's crazy. It's crazy because we're giving all of our personal self-worth, our own ability to process our own mistakes and all of that away. We're giving that power away to someone else. And now they control whether or not I feel good about myself. And it's like, darling, I grant you redemption. Yeah. It's like we're playing God with our spouse. And really, forgiveness is the only place that it is valuable, or there are two places that I find that it is valid. And the only two places that it works is between you and God, or your source, or your higher power, or whatever you want to call it, and between you and you. And that is absolutely it.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Wow. And I'd even take it a step further to say that need for approval or forgiveness, or to be understood, or to be seen as somebody good, whatever it is you're seeking when you need to be forgiven. If you step outside of that and look at it from a third-party perspective, the way that you just described, and you really think about it, at the end of the day, you don't need that person to forgive you for anything. It's up to you whether you work on this or not, and it's up to them whether they want to continue to have people in their lives, right, that continue to act the same way or in a way that's not in alignment with their values. And if they don't, then they are more than welcome to set you free, because they are going to be self-honoring and you're going to be self-honoring.
Right.
And if everybody just found this new model, imagine how much imagine how people would function in relationships today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because what we're doing is very codependent.
Yeah.
We're saying, like, I need you to redeem me in order to feel good, and you need to redeem me, or whatever it is. And it's like it's ammunition, you know. We're using it, and if we don't let it go right away, all of a sudden now we have this ammunition. Oh, well, remember that thing you did, you know? And it's like, ooh, like, you have me by these chains. Like, that's what the ball and chain is, I think, sometimes, you know. And that it's like, it feels horrible. It doesn't. And here's the thing that we need to address and be totally honest about, is that it doesn't just feel horrible for the person that made the mistake. It also feels horrible for you. The 100%. One that's holding this negative perception of the person you deeply care about and love over their head. Like, that does not feel good for anybody. And it's like, when I don't forgive right away, or, you know, just see that they're doing the best that they know and they're going to make mistakes, then I'm in my own prison of pain. You know, I'm suffering in, like, this view of my spouse as flawed and not good enough and going to disappoint me. And what am I doing? I'm looking for all the other wrongdoings that they're about to do. So I'm almost like gearing up to expect more wrongdoing rather than the opposite, which, here's the thing about, and I know we've talked about this before, is that whatever you expect or describe or share or energetically give to your spouse, they will step into that.
Yeah.
You know,
you're allowing the space for it now.
So you have two choices when your partner does something. You could either downgrade them or uplift them, you know? And if you see this wrongdoing and you call them on all this wrongdoing, and now, you know, you got to prove yourself. It's like, now they're living in that, oh, I'm flawed, I'm weak, I'm a horrible person, etc., etc. And that kind of energy inside of any human being just creates more of those mistakes, those bad feelings, those negative feelings, the stress, etc., pressure, all that stuff, which is not healthy for love, for connection. You know, it's like women always want connection, but we don't realize that we're actually creating disconnection in some of the things that we do in our everyday experience with the little disappointments or the little expectations that we have, you know? And so we've got to start to, number one, claim awareness, and then also start to make changes with it, you know? And I forgot what else I was going to say.
Well, I feel like what you originally said, right? The first part, I think it starts there. I think that's where most people, or at least I see in my experience in not just personal relationships, but the work I do is relationship work, right? It's a woman's relationship with herself, with her children, with her partner. And what I see is people, men and women alike, refusing to recognize that, because it's easier to be a victim and be victimized and be hurt than it is to take your power back and do something about it. It's so much easier, and I see it across the board in so many different ways.
Well, it's easier temporarily, but not in the long run.
Exactly. It feels easier. It's the quick solution.
In the moment.
Yeah, and the person who needs to do the forgiving is, like you said, they're really in a prison. They've put themselves in this prison. They're the ones that are really suffering. And when you choose to forgive somebody else, it's not even necessarily for them. It's for you.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's like, I can now relax.
I don't need to have this pain and this anger and this energy on my heart anymore.
Yeah.
I can let that go.
But see, the thing is that forgiveness doesn't even have to exist in that realm anyway. I don't have to ever forgive you, because I can be in peace despite what you do. Because I'm not in control of your actions, because I'm only in control of the way that I am in reaction to what's happening outside of me. You know, how I go through the issue is the issue. That is like the point of all of the work that we're doing. It's not about the issue. It's about me and how I'm moving through it, how I am inside of myself, peace or disturbance, you know, and how I go through it is the thing that we are reaching for. That's what we're, it's always about, I want to have peace. I want to feel good. I want to feel love. I want to feel connection. And it's like all of that is within me.
It all comes back to us. It's all within us. Our happiness is within us, our experience. And we're always looking outside.
And we're in charge of that realm, like, hello, let's stop trying to control all this out here and just say, okay, am I while I'm going through all of this? And it doesn't just go for, those things that disappoint us. It goes for the deep sadnesses and traumas that we face sometimes in life. I know a few really amazing people who have had some really tough traumas in their life, and it's like, okay, we got to breathe through that. And then how am I going to be while I'm going through this? Because this stuff out here, I can't control so much, with an asterisk, because I do have an asterisk to that.
Yeah. Something else you just made me think about too is that I feel like so many people think that by giving forgiveness or forgiving, that they're condoning or saying that the behavior is acceptable or okay. So therefore they cannot forgive, because by doing so, they would be saying that's okay and what they did was wrong.
Right. I am just so in love with you that you brought that up, because that is an amazing and valid point to bring up. Yes, that's what people think. And the thing is about that I want to shift in all of our perspectives is that there is no such thing as right or wrong. It just does not exist. Okay, what we know is what is maybe the most effective way to do something, right? We can all agree on that. Oh, okay, this is more effective than this. But calling something right or wrong is all based on perspective. And the thing, if you really study humans and the way that they think, no one ever thinks that they're wrong. Everyone, down to the criminals, I'm doing what I'm doing because of the government. I'm oppressed. I'm and so I'm doing the best that I know with what I got.
I love that you say that. I studied the psychology of serial killers in college, and you know that the majority of them think that they're the good guys?
Yeah. No, it's
serial
true.
killers and gangsters and mobsters, and you go back to like the 40s and the Great Depression, the people who are doing these awful things, they actually see the police and the government as bad, and they think that they're doing what's right in their hearts.
Right.
Oh, it's mind-blowing.
I know. And so here's the thing is, once we can really accept that, then it's like, okay, then why do we go into all this judgment? Because that's what judgment is. It's saying that I'm right and you're wrong. And it's pointing the finger when there are three pointing back at you. And it's like, here's what we do in self-forgiveness then. If we're not going to buy into this right or wrongness of things and just say, okay, that was a mistake and there might be a more effective way, let's talk about that. It's like, then I can say to my, just for example, let's bring it back to the baby learning to walk. Babies learning to walk, and maybe they take too big of a step, okay, and then they fall, and it's like, okay, that wasn't wrong. Okay, so I'm not calling it right or wrong, but I'm saying that was a good attempt. That was an attempt, and here's another way to do it. Maybe take a smaller step, and you're doing great. Keep up the effort. I believe in you. I know you're going to do it. Boom. That's it. That's how we can respond to mistakes, because when we do the opposite of downgrading them, we uplift them, because number one, we're seeing the good in them. So they make this horrible, catastrophic mistake in the relationship. Okay. And so, yeah, it hurts. Yeah, it's painful. Yeah, you might lose, some of the things that you thought that you had in the relationship. And that's we're not saying that those are not important to move through and to go through. However, it's like, if you can then say, all right, I see the best in you, despite this behavior. This behavior does not define who you are. I know you're better than that. I know you want to be this amazing spouse. I know you want to be this amazing person, and I know that you can be. I'm going to stand by you and uplift you powerfully into that place.
And for all our listeners out there, if your spouse talked to you that way when you did something wrong or inaccurate or something to harm them or something you didn't want to even do, how would you receive that? And how would you respond? It would be so different.
Right? So different. You wouldn't go into your defenses.
No.
You would be touched. You would be like, whoa, this person loves me unconditionally, so powerfully.
Massively believes in me.
I want to be the best that I can for this person.
I love this so much. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
There's always a more effective way to do it, right?
Yeah.
What helped me so much when we were doing this work together a few years ago, Jessica, was when you had shown me the end game. Like, what is really the goal? If the goal is really to have this thriving, beautiful relationship, right? And not to be right, right? Mm-hmm. It's so much easier to do that, to communicate in a different way, to do things differently, because you're focused on the goal, right? Mm-hmm. Not on being right or proving something. Mm-hmm. The goal is to have this beautiful relationship. So when you do things differently, you can create the space for that.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
Absolutely.
And that helped me so much because I'm a little bit of an achiever, a little goal oriented. So you dangle that carrot. I'm like, I'm going for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Beautiful. This has been such a great conversation. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and readdress, exactly what to do instead. So that way we have a really good, solid, map. So let's take out some paper and write it down or do whatever we need to do so that we can start doing this from a better position. This is Thriving Relationships, and we'll be right back.
There's a classic diner in town that combines old-fashioned dining with a hip 21st century menu. They call it trendy nostalgia. They call it Kathy's Deli. Kathy's Deli is a classic diner. Homemade jams, freshly baked breads, and even unique flavored coffee creamers made on site. Experience the fresh, new, yet old-fashioned taste of your local hometown diner. Serving traditional and unique breakfast and lunch delights every day from 7 to 3. Kathy's Deli on Lyons Avenue off Wayman Court.
Are you at least 55 and have a torn irreparable rotator cuff? If so, you may qualify for a no-cost clinical study of an investigational shoulder implant. Visit rotatorcuffstudy.com. Learn more about the study being conducted at Southern California Orthopedic Institute's Valencia Clinic at rotatorcuffstudy.com. See a video of the device and get more information on how to enroll at rotatorcuffstudy.com.
That's rotatorcuffstudy.com, rotatorcuffstudy.com.
Sponsored by Microair Surgical Instruments.
Pure Birth's Pregnancy and Wellness is Santa Clarita's newest birth center, offering holistic prenatal care, water births, labor and delivery, and postpartum care. Owned and operated by California Medical Board licensed midwife Tiffany Gallo, who has been serving expected families in the SCV for over a decade. Pure Births is also a Medi-Cal birth center. If you want to experience a natural birth with the freedom to birth your way in a safe and professional environment, contact Pure Births on Tournament Road near McBean, purebirths.com.
How can I do better than I did the day before? How can I show you tomorrow that I love you even more? Though I'm not perfect, I'll share my deepest truths. I'll own my part, I'll grow, and always see the best in you. In this life, there's no coincidence, and in love, there's only growth and innocence. The legendary love program has been revolutionizing relationships all over Santa Clarita. Visit jessicahartley.com/program to uplift your love and thrive.
KHTS strives to give the Santa Clarita Valley all the information they need. And when our computers aren't working the way they should, we call Resurgence, your true source for IT. Resurgence provides outstanding customer service while also providing the highest technical ability. They strive to do what is best to improve and protect your business. For more information on Resurgence, call 349-4114 or go to resurgenceit.com.
Imagine a 100% maintained solar energy system with no out-of-pocket expense. Imagine a solar company with big corporate experience here in Santa Clarita, made up of experts who live and work in our valley. Find out how simple it is to reduce your energy expenses now with a free consultation from HomeLink Solar. We are your neighbors. HomeLink Solar, your home better, your life better. Visit HomeLinkPros.com to find out how you can save with solar with no out-of-pocket expense.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Welcome back to Thriving Relationships with Jessica Hartley. So Samantha Davis and I have been just having the time of our lives talking all about revolutionizing forgiveness and helping ourselves and our spouse and our children and all those that we're in relationship with to uplift into the best that we are by this new model of forgiveness. So thanks, Samantha, for all of the thoughtful insights and banter that we've been having here.
Absolutely.
Okay, so here's the nuts and bolts, okay? If we're going to revolutionize forgiveness, here's what it looks like instead. Number one, it doesn't have anything to do with anyone outside of you and you or you and God, okay? Number two is that, well, in that point, it's like you can say, when you're using forgiveness for yourself, it sounds like this: I forgive myself for judging spouse as a jerk or unthoughtful or whatever it is. Because that way I'm releasing my own prison that I'm holding myself in and the energy of that. You know, this is the prison that I'm creating through that, the energy and the feelings and the pain and the resentment from that. So I can release myself from that. And I have no control over what they choose to do. If they want to grow from it, that's up to them. And if they don't, that's up to them. But I will have the most influence on whether or not they grow through it, because if I uplift them by seeing the good in them and knowing that they're going to get there, you know, like that example that we shared earlier. It's like, if I do that instead, then I'm going to have a good influence on them, right? So I like to call that to remind and reassure. Mm-hmm. So instead of forgiving our spouse or those people or children or anyone, we could remind and reassure. We can say, hey, here's this might not be the best way. Here's another way. And hey, you've got it. I know you've got it. I believe in you. You don't put pressure on yourself. You know, you've got this. You can do it. You know, I know that you can. You know, so you inspire and you uplift them, and you do that by being able to see the good in them, see them for the best of intentions that they have, and see them for everything that they their potential and their possibility. Mm-hmm. Anything else you want to add to that?
No, I just love it. I love it, and I think it's so powerful, because everything is energy, and think of the energy you're sending. I truly believe that we're mirrors for each other, and when you allow for that and you step into that and you be that, for lack of a better term, bigger person, mm-hmm. it allows the other person to really step into who they truly are as well. Mm-hmm. That's when the magic happens, but it takes one. Mm-hmm. One person has to be willing to step into that space. Right. Usually the person who feels most wronged.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you know, it's like, I feel that it's usually the person who is closer and more in touch with the greater depth of empathy, mm-hmm. you know, and so sometimes it's a man, but most often that's a woman. Yeah. You know, and being able to like move into that place and move from there. But the thing is that even just hearing about how we're going to redo forgiveness, and, you know, that's not enough, you know, because we've been so conditioned in our current way of thinking and operating that it's not going to change unless we recondition it. You know, and so that's what my work is all about. It's all about bridging the mental realm and understanding this new model and this new way of being, and bridging the spiritual realm, that we're not just humans, that we're also souls having a human experience and doing the best that we know. And then moving that forward with just a depth, the power of the open heart and action by doing things, you know? And so it's this really well-rounded sort of four-fold approach to changing the dynamic in relationship, because you need each one of those aspects in order to create change that lasts, you know? And so that's what the programs that I've put together are all about. And that's what's so unique about the work that I do. You know, it's not just about talking. It's not just about, you know, doing the emotional work. It's every piece, and it's about the action too, the date nights, different things like that. Yeah. So, I would encourage anyone to, I have an amazing quiz on my website right now. It's called the Relationship Assessment Quiz. And if you go there, you can access that and get a really good assessment of where those weak points are in our relationship. So thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you, Samantha, for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
And this is Thriving Relationships. We'll be back next week to talk about the sacred feminine.
Thanks, guys.